Update to my husband's female colleague. Original post. I do not know your Reddit name, but you finally gave me a reason to use this throwaway. I know you looked through this sub after you got advice here telling you to come clean to me about your affair with my husband. I personally couldn't find a thread that fit the description, but could be the wrong sub or you deleted it. So if you read this and it sounds familiar, then yes, it's about you. I have no plans of speaking to you in the future, but I want to make a few things clear. Yes, I do remember when we first met at a Christmas party and you kept trying to get my husband alone to talk. You pouted so much when he refused. I thought you would quack. Do you remember how all of his colleagues were friendly with me? I remember when you approached my husband and I walking home from my birthday dinner. I'm pretty sure this was a coincidence, but seeing my husband practically jump away from you trying to hug him was the highlight of my night. I know my husband is sexy. Of course I know. I married him and had kids with him. But I bet you didn't know because you have only been at the company for a few months that your coworkers used to be my coworkers. I know all about you trying to get him alone after meetings. Not only straight from my husband because you make him feel uncomfortable, but also from them. Did you think he wouldn't talk to me after you accidentally sent him 2 provocative photos on 2 separate occasions? Did you think you could really get him? Did you look at his Instagram and think, wow, I want that life. I just need to lie to his wife and it's all mine? Do you think knocking on my door when I'm hosting a dinner party to hand me printouts of your conversations with him that I would go off at the deep end to divorce him? I'm pretty sure HR have spoken to you already about your inappropriate behavior and misuse of his personal file. I'm sure you were shocked. Maybe you didn't think my husband would report it. I don't know what repercussions you will get, and I don't care. But if you come near me, my husband, our kids, or our nice home again, police will be called. A word of advice. If you're going to fabricate messages, you might want to get rid of the wrong number or at least replace it with a name. Now for the top comments before reading the update. I desperately need to find this woman's post because I am so invested in the drama. I'm sorry you and your family are going through this, OP, but it's like a car crash. I can't look away. It's absolutely fine. I would be in the same in your shoes. I honestly don't know if it's revenge for him not having an affair with her or if she really believes it. Honestly, it could go either way. She could be mentally ill and genuinely believe the scenario she's created in her head, or she could just be taking revenge on your husband and your family because he refused an affair like you said. Regardless, she sounds dangerous. Please stay safe. Oh man, I hope some handy Redditor finds the mentioned post. I could swear I did read pretty much this exact story from this other woman this week. Except she truly didn't seem to understand how ridiculously inappropriate she was being to the married guy. She's totally schoolgirl crushing on the guy, trying to flirt at work and inappropriately cornering the guy and trying to get him alone. All he's got a wife, but it's just too hot to stop myself. Until Reddit ripped her a few new ones. I remember a post like that a few days ago, but I think it was a neighbor she was crushing on and not a coworker. She was fully convinced he was also in love with her, even though nothing indicated that was the case. Honestly, I tried looking for it when she handed me the printout. She had an entire monologue memorized with apologies. It mentioned Reddit a few times, but I couldn't find anything when I looked that night. It could have been a different sub or she deleted it. I had a coworker who did something similar about 20 years ago. She was obsessed with a married coworker who was nice and had trained her. His wife worked in the same place but a different department. This woman would openly talk about wanting to sleep with him and not caring about his marriage. She stalked and harassed his wife and confronted her at a group event. She attacked his wife, who promptly kicked her butt and had her arrested. People are nuts. Wow, they really are out there. Mini update. She has been fired with immediate effect. I will update when we know our next steps. Thank you for the support so far. Now for the full update. First, I want to say thank you to everyone who supported my husband and I in the first post. This might go on for a little bit, so I'm sorry in advance. I probably won't be as articulate as I was in my first post. I never found her post, by the way. If all you want is the update, skip to the bottom line. But a few people implied that there was no smoke without fire. Usually I would agree. I'd have been on the other side making these comments myself on my actual account, but my husband is also on Reddit and saw the comments and he wanted me to add some prior events. My husband is high up within the company marketing department that works closely with the event team in their field. When they work together on a project, big or small, they have to have meetings. The bigger the project, the more meetings needed. My husband worked very closely with a colleague that went on maternity leave. The woman was highly recommended by a senior employee in the events team. So after she had trainings on the systems and brought up to speed by her department head and my husband for a big project, he was friendly towards her. He remained professional at all times, and the meetings they had were also never alone. The project was a success, and then another big project landed in their laps. It was at this time the woman started acting strange just before the Christmas period, asking for clarification after meetings when the points had been discussed thoroughly. When my husband rebuffed this and directed her to her own manager, it escalated to offering to discuss work matters over coffee/lunch/dinner countless times a week, telling him that he looked good that day. And this was done using her work email. She met me at a Christmas party and sulked when she couldn't get him alone, and a few days later sent my husband the first picture via social media. He didn't actually see the first picture until after she apologized in person. He accepted her apology before checking his messages when he was back at home with me. She had put an "oops, sorry, wrong person" message straight after it, so when he clicked that message, the first picture was there, which she could have deleted before he actually saw the message. A week later, a similar thing happens with a second picture on a different social media platform. He saw who the message was from and asked me to open it. It was a little more provocative than before, but when she apologized, she asks him if he told me about the pictures, as she didn't want me to get the wrong idea, as they were both previously a drunken mistake. She was not a friend on any of his social media, so I don't know how she thought that was an excuse. My birthday comes along, and when she went to hug my husband, he jumped away as her actions were getting him worried. But after that, her actions calmed down a little bit. She sort of stopped asking him out to discuss work so much. But then last Monday happened. As for the update, she was fired for inappropriate actions and gross misconduct, and this has led to someone else being suspended pending investigation. As my husband and I were both working from home due to the events that happened last week, I was unaware at the time of my post that she had been suspended pretty much straight after my husband reported this to HR on Wednesday. He handed over the text exchange, the messages on his social media, with proof he never responded, and he printed out the work emails he had received also. The reason for the rapid response was due to the nature of the allegations, but I can confirm she was fired yesterday. I have not been told what she said, but she did not try to raise any allegation against my husband. In my comments, I explained a little about the HR department's system. The company uses an electronic personal database, which only HR employees can log into. No other employees should have access to this system, yet an employee in the IT department gave the woman an authorized access to the HR system. A report was run and she had been in my husband's file 34 times. I don't know what she actually did in there, but apparently there was so many amendments that they had to restore his file from a recent backup. So, the IT employee has been suspended pending an investigation, but I don't know much else about that, as it's not my job to know. I'm only recounting what I have been told by my husband and former colleagues. The past 48 hours has been crazy, but I'm glad that this post reached other platforms, as a relative of hers found a post and reached out to us to apologize for the woman's actions. After a few messages were exchanged, we had a very long telephone conversation. I will not go into specifics due to their privacy. However, I can say the following things with permission. The woman has been fixated on other men before, resulting in her having an order of protection against her and her needing treatment. The family believes this is due to a traumatic event she witnessed when she was a child. She is normally very stable when she has medication. The only problem with that is when she is stable, she believes she is completely healthy and stops taking the medication, causing a relapse. The person that she had a text exchange with was her teenage niece who was not aware of her aunt's condition. The niece was under the impression it was a joke, then became scared when we called Wednesday morning, so she hung up. She reported this to her family and they found out later that day that the woman had been suspended. The family found a post and my comment referencing the text exchange and got my husband's name from the woman after confirming the post was her. The woman is currently staying with other relatives about 4 hours away from where we are. We will be contacted if she goes missing from their care, especially while the medication is working its way back into her system. We will not be pressing charges at present, but we have logged this with the police, especially after talking about it with our friend and her family are aware of this. Our security is being updated within the next 2 weeks. The school and daycare are also aware of the people who can and can't drop off/pick up my kids with photos of them. They have also been provided a photo of her, and to contact my husband and or I if they see her near the schools or attempts to pick my children up. Hopefully, I won't need to provide a further update to this. And I'm going to have a bottle of wine and hopefully my husband and I will have a very good night's sleep. Edit. Denise found a post and recognized that some of the text exchange I referenced in my comments, possibly the part about kicking me out of my house with my kids, as that was the only part I was not too vague about. But I don't actually know what else has gone on in their family behind the scenes, as I didn't speak directly to her. Yikes, what a saga. Glad the situation has been figured out and dealt with, so you can begin to exhale. Let's all hope the former colleague continues to get the help she desperately needs. Hard to imagine how traumatized her brain must be. Yeah, I feel a little guilty for posting now, but it ultimately did get her the help and support she needs. You shouldn't feel guilty. Look at all the good that has come from the post. Her family's aware and hopefully she can get some help. She is with her support system. That is the best case outcome. And you and your husband know you are safe for now, so you can relax and heal a bit. You did well. This is so scary. Glad she was fired. What do you mean by amendments? I'm assuming she was editing stuff on your husband's file? She had changed a lot of information on his file. I'm not allowed to know the exact extent, but she had access to everything HR would. They managed to confirm that she didn't access anyone else's file also, and the amendments were reverted back when the backup was restored. My guess is she changed herself to the emergency contact. Glad she didn't access anyone else's file at least. Did you ever find her old post? Was that just a lie? Was she feeding her husband baked good? I got so many questions and none are answered. I never found a post, but with people making so many suggestions, I admit I was overwhelmed with crazy posts. I looked through them and none of them matched. But I honestly don't know what I'm looking for, because she either fully believed she was having an affair with my husband and posted about that, or she admitted she lied to get me out the way. I also think it's a possibility she has posted, but changed too many details to remain anonymous so I couldn't recognize it. I didn't ask her family for her post history when we spoke. She never baked anything for my husband. She wasn't in a relationship either. Little annoyed with commenters in the OG post saying, well, where there's smoke. Like, yeah, the fire was OP's husband being harassed. My first thought based on OP's description was that she was stalking him. The further it went on, the more I assumed she had done this before. There was just too much going on that pointed towards him being honest, especially since OP was still in contact with coworkers who corroborated everything. Last story. A guy at work is giving me silent treatment because I didn't accept sweets he bought me. This guy at work in his late 30s/early 40s asked me a 29 female out a couple of times and I have said no every time. He has even asked me why I've said no. He does, however, leave chocolates and other sweets on my desk. I explained to him I don't eat the volume of food he's leaving me, so to please stop. I also explained I want to be healthier. I also don't want to accept because I feel he's doing it to pick up, and I don't want to give the wrong idea. Last week I returned from lunch, and he had a tray of sweets for me that he had purchased while on his lunch. I was so full for my lunch, and I'm really trying with my diet and gym. So I said, no thanks, give them to someone else in the office perhaps. He got very annoyed, and now has given me the silent treatment since. This includes saying hi and bye to everyone but me daily. I find it kind of funny, to be honest. I felt bad at first for rejecting a nice gesture, but now I just feel he's overreacting. Adding on, yes, it's good he's leaving me alone, but the absolute silent treatment does make it awkward, because I do have to work with this person. Edit. Right now, I am not going to report him to HR or kick up a fuss. I merely made this post to get it off my chest. I am also not worried I no longer get attention from him as it wasn't wanted. I'm just feeling awkward about the situation. Thanks all. Now for the advice. Please report this to someone. Leave a paper trail in case the situation escalates. He clearly doesn't respect your boundaries. I have a coworker who was ignoring me without saying why. It was at least partially my fault. Turns out my stupid sense of humor is not appreciated by everyone, and it was really getting in the way of work. I've recently moved teams, so I don't see him much anymore, but I've found out that he has been doing the same thing to much more senior people, and they're not happy about it. I was actually relieved to hear that it wasn't just me. OP, mention all of this to HR or a supervisor if you have one you trust. Coworkers who cannot and will not communicate will always negatively affect the workplace. Haha, good. Now you can ignore him in peace. Tell HR though if he gets snarky. No, tell HR now. And tell more if he continues. This is best. You want to be ahead of the problem with HR so they can take immediate action if he does it again. Otherwise, they might say, this is the first time we are hearing of this, so we've noted it for now, instead of actually helping you. This reminds me of something that happened to me when I was working at a little cafe in Hawaii. I was going through a really hard breakup, just trying to save money and get back on my feet. I met a guy who worked there too, who was also from the same area I was from, East Coast, US. We bonded a bit, and he was funny, and we formed a platonic friendship. One day, we grabbed lunch together and we each paid for our own food. Then he sold me a little weed. It was clearly not a date. When we were about to part ways, he leaned in and attempted to kiss me on the lips. I backed away and said, "Whoa, were you just about to kiss me?" And he says, "What can I say? I'm bold." I let him know I wasn't looking for anything romantic. I'd ask if we were cool, and he says yes. From that point forward, he proceeded to give me the silent treatment at work. And when I confronted him to ask what was up, he just pretended like everything was fine, and then continued to ignore me. And this kind of thing has happened to me multiple times over the years. It's definitely a thing. Guys getting butthurt upon rejection. Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to cook for my stepchildren anymore? Original post. They are 16 female and 15 male. My husband and I have been married for 8 years. They have been living with their mom for a month because we caught the virus. Fortunately, they were with their mom and didn't catch it. Normally, we split custody. Ever since they have returned home, they have been very critical of my cooking. My husband and I usually split chores. He makes the dinner and I make breakfast and lunch. This works for us as my work starts later in the morning while his shift ends earlier in the evening. I try to make them healthy food and spend time with them, but they have been nothing but critical. They make faces, make fun of the dishes I cooked, and compare them to their mom's cooking in a manner which is really hurtful. They have been talked to, and their father has even punished them. They just don't seem to care. My husband seems to think my cooking is fine. Hell, they don't seem to mind my cooking when he heated it up last week. So I stopped cooking for them. They know how to cook. I had taught both of them how to handle themselves around the kitchen last year, and they had no problems before this. I am worried that they are lashing out over something hurtful I did. Teenagers are not known for their emotional maturity, and I fear this will further alienate them. But at the same time, my mental health has improved, and I do not dread mornings anymore. I still make them lunch, but I don't have to hear them talk smack about my cooking due to my schedule. My husband wants me to be the adult here, and I promise to deal with them. He thinks that if I start cooking again, they will calm down. My bonus children are giving me the cold shoulder, and it hurts. But I want to teach them that they have to respect the people in their lives, even if they dislike them. They talked to their mom about it, and she ranted at me and called me names. My husband is making them breakfast now, and they don't seem to mind that change. I had made my peace with them not considering me family. I don't expect them to make me a Mother's Day card or call me mom. I never expected that. That would be amazing, but I know it is not going to happen. I am okay with that. However, I just want them to treat me with respect. Understand that I am an adult in their lives who cares for them and loves them, but they treat me like a servant who also pays for stuff. Now for the top comments. They talked to their mom about it and she ranted at me and called me names. This is why they are treating you poorly. Your husband needs to have a sit down with his ex about bad-mouthing you to the kids. In my humble opinion, you're doing the correct thing. These are not young children. They are teenagers and they damn sure know what they are doing. You don't need to put up with this treatment just because they're kids. They're rude and their words and actions affect other people. This, especially suspicious since things seem to have started up after they spent some time at their mom's. Makes me wonder what might have been said while they were over there, especially since if I'm reading your post correctly, everything seemed fine for 8 years. I doubt their mom was pulling out a full 4-course breakfast for them every day, and even if she was, they can't realistically expect someone else to do the same. So someone's up. Not day-hole. You said they know how to cook, and if all else fails, they can always go for cereal or a sandwich. They won't starve, and you shouldn't have to put up with their criticism. Oh my god. They're 15 and 16 and someone else cooks them breakfast and makes their lunches? You and your husband are teaching them to remain children instead of becoming adults. It's great that you taught them their way around a kitchen, and no one should be making them breakfast except themselves, especially with their entitled attitude. They're acting like toddlers and your husband is enabling them. You are not the a-hole for setting and maintaining healthy boundaries. Yeah, I was making my own breakfast from a much younger age. I just leave out cereal, milk, and bread for them. I'm worried they are lashing out over something hurtful I did. What did you do that was hurtful? Also, what's wrong with two teenagers making their own toast or cereal and fruit in the morning? I was living out of home already by their ages and made my own damn food 3 times a day. But even at, say, 12 to 13, I made my own breakfast and school lunch, and the parental figures would only ever make dinner. They're not young children. They're fully capable of making their own breakfast and lunch. I'm not voting on your a-hole rating until you answer my question about what you think they may be retaliating over. I have been racking my brains thinking about something I did which would cause this reaction. I can't think of anything. That worries me even more for some reason. Am I being too oblivious to what I did? And now for the update. I made my post, I think, 2 weeks ago, and a lot has happened. I realized that I was not an a-hole for not cooking for them. I continued to not cook for them, and they continued to ignore me. It was hurtful, but I was getting used to it. I talked to my husband about enforcing rules and talking to their mother to ensure that we can solve this issue, but he is reluctant to start drama because he is afraid of going back to the court and having to change the custody agreement. However, all this took a backseat. My father received a very bad diagnosis. It is pretty bad. It sent me to a very bad place, and I was just getting by on autopilot for a week. My stepdaughter walked in on me crying in my room. I think she was looking for her dad. She sat next to me and apologized. She teared up a little and told me that she's scared that I will force Dad to move them permanently to their mothers. That made me cry harder. I told her that even though we may not get on all the time, I always missed them when they were at their mothers and house would feel empty without them here. After this conversation, things are better now. I won't say we are doing fine all the time, but we are doing much better than before. The people who guessed that their mother put them to it were correct. After some a bit more talking to my stepchildren, I realized what that something we did that really hurt them. My stepdaughter told me that we didn't call them when we were sick with the virus. But we did. In fact, we were frustrated that they didn't pick up. But we chalked it up to their mother's very strict screen time policy, where the phones are under her care and not with them, and them being busy with classes. We just resorted to texting them. My hypothesis is that their mother knew the passcodes and she was deleting our missed calls when the phone was with her, and then using our lack of calls to drive a wedge between us. I have not told anyone about this theory, but this seems like a good theory. I have let this thing slide for now as I'm more focused on helping my father with his treatment. I really want to thank everyone who commented. I know this is not a happy update, but I want to let people know what happened. Opie, talk to your husband first. But I have an idea. Show your kids your call records and texts you sent when they were at their mom's. They're teens. They're tech savvy enough to understand timestamps and deletions. Tell them you're concerned they didn't get any calls or messages, because you want to make sure they have reliable communication with you and their dad. If your theory is true, the kids will put 2 and 2 together and understand who's really the problem. If that's the case, it may be worth talking to a lawyer and revisiting custody. Besides the whole parental alienation thing, interfering with communication with the custodial parent is dangerous and not in the best interest of the kids. I'm sorry to hear about your dad. I hope you're able to spend as much time with him and the kids as possible. This is a really good idea. Opie, I understand you don't want to add any fuel to the drama and your husband's worries, but I think the kids do need to understand what their mother is capable of. I'm sorry about your dad, Opie. I hope it gets better for you both. And it really is a safety issue with emergency communications. What if Dad got into a car accident and the kids needed to come to the hospital? Would the mom just decline calls? What if one of the kids forgot medication at the house? It's not just douchey, it's dangerous. Wow, I'm so sorry for you and your dad, but happy you seem to be on track with the stepkids. Their mother seems to be playing quite a role in this. It's really screwed up. I get so depressed when I read about all the horrible parents out there who use their kids as a weapon. Show stepdaughter the missed calls and messages from your phones. That should convince her that both of you did try to contact them. and contact a lawyer and take X back to court. This is straight up parental alienation. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to be part of my step-family's business? So my mom married my stepdad when I was 12. Both had kids. Mom had me, 25 female, and my siblings, 20 female, 19 male, 18 female, and my stepdad has his three, 18 female, 16 male, 16 female. We lost our dad a year before. Stepdad lost his first wife 3 years before. As the oldest, I blended less well than the others. I'm fine with everyone. I get along with everyone, and I have no problems. But I don't love them. I don't consider my stepdad my dad or even as much as a parental figure as they would like. My step-siblings don't feel the same as my siblings. It's not really a big deal. I can treat them all the same and fake a bond and stuff that I don't feel, and I have no issues with any of them like I said. But I do have some boundaries. Like I kept my last name when my siblings changed theirs. And for Father's Day, my card was always separate from the main one because I was not okay getting him a dad/father Father's Day card. It had to be stepdad. Now, my mom and stepdad want to open up a family restaurant, and my siblings and step-siblings all want to be involved. And I don't. I expressed this to them as not my thing, but my mom knew I was saying no in part because of how I feel. And she told me it was making it very obvious because I have been involved in my paternal family business since high school, and that it looks like an out rejection. I told her the simple fact is, I'm not interested. And they have a lot of people already involved, so it's not like it's a big deal. She told me I'm making myself look like the red-haired stepchild, and I told her that I am a stepchild. I have a step-parent. That's not a bad thing, and it's not something I'm ashamed of. She told me I didn't have to be a stepchild. I could have had another dad. I told her I could have, but I didn't want that. She told me the family business wants and needs me. I asked her, since pictures of the grandparents and deceased relatives are going up on the walls in this idea, would the deceased parents be going up there too? And there was silence. My brother told me they're sad I don't want to be part of it, and it would be such a cool family thing to have. And now my mom's words are stuck in my head. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Seriously? Stay away. If you don't want to be part of it, stay away from it. The restaurant business has a level of volatility that's unlike any other industry. It tears families apart. Starting a restaurant and making a profit from it is very difficult and easily failed. Rent is expensive and overheads are high. I can write a whole essay as to why family restaurants can fail. The hours are long, the work is not fun, and everyone is exhausted at the end of the night. Most restaurants fail in the first few years because it's so difficult. Stick to your decision, Opie. Use any excuse you can, but steer clear of this mess. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. How many family businesses does she think you need to be a part of? And if you've had boundaries since you were 12 about how blended you wanted to be, why is she still harping on this 13 years after the fact? I think she thought I would feel like the odd one out, or like I was missing out on something. But I have never felt that way, and I know that bothers her because she wants me to be a part of it. Clearly not the a-hole. You feel what you feel or even not. It is your choice. If it doesn't feel right to participate, then don't participate. It is only up to you. You don't need to do things just to make others feel better. Do what is good for you. Not the a-hole. It would be counterproductive to put someone who's not passionate about the business responsible for said business anyways. You have your own goals and aspirations that you want to do and should not be chained to a career your family made. Last story is titled, Am I the a-hole for throwing my sister-in-law and her kids out after calling her a bad person because she called me a bad mom? My 33 female husband's 33 male oldest sister Rachel, 41 female, loves to stop by so her kids can spend time with mine. Rachel can be annoying, but she and my husband have a good relationship, and I always wanted to cultivate healthy relationships between everyone. But last weekend, I hit a breaking point and caused some added damage than was already done. Potentially. So, my youngest is 6, and he has sensory issues. He has many issues with clothes. Can't wear certain fabrics, can't stand socks, Even needs special underwear and would go around naked if he could. Sister-in-law's always been into knitting sweaters and gives them as gifts. She has also gifted clothes to the kids before. We explained many times about our son, and my husband has said while we appreciate the gifts, he can't wear them without being driven crazy. So she was looking through some photos while she was here last weekend. My husband was working, and she commented that none of the holidays pictures had him in the sweater, and that he never wears the clothes she buys. I was a little frustrated by trying to explain it as easily as I could. She then told me she had something for him, pulls out a pair of space socks and says they would be perfect for him and his interest in space. I told her he couldn't wear them and they drive him crazy. She told me we cater too much to him, that he should be made wear what people buy'd make for him, and I'm not being a good parent letting him go through life rejecting clothes. I lost it. I told her that if I'm a bad mother, then she's a crappy person for judging me when all I'm doing is my best, and for pushing constantly to get her way. I told her we had explained things as clearly as we possibly could, and we have been over this for over 3 years now, and she's still not willing to open her mind to the possibility that we're all just doing our best. She told me good parents help their kids be better than rejecting stuff, and I told her to take her kids and leave because she was not welcome in my home anymore. My husband was pissed at her sister when he heard what went down, and he heard on his lunch break because she sent him 30 messages and left 3 voicemails on his phone. The rest of the family say I should have not treated her like that in front of the kids. And kicking the kids out was wrong. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Thanks for standing up for your kids' sensory issues. I didn't have that growing up and I can still feel awful tights in my legs, scratchy dresses, non-stretch pants. I'm 35 and I buy my favorite clothes in multiples because they feel good. You can tell your sister-in-law to go to hell. Enforcing people with sensory issues go wear certain clothes is a special kind of hell in itself. You would think she would take the hint after 3 years of explaining it to her in plain English that the son cannot wear her gifts. Enough is enough. She showed absolutely no consideration for the son's sensory issues. And the nerve of her of pushing her ideology of what constitutes a bad parent just because you allow him to wear what is most comfortable. She can take her snarky butt and her unwanted gifts back with her. Not the hall. Isn't it funny that the people who pester you over and over again are always the same people who are shocked to pick at your face when you hit your limit and go off? And somehow always blame you for it. I was only trying to help you. You did not have to lash out for such a small thing. You're too sensitive. How they managed to paint the picture in their mind as them being the victim of this situation appalls me. Not the a-hole. She's the a-hole. Buying gifts you don't want and wanting to force your child to wear them. If she's so positive about wanting the kid to wear it, why not ask you which fabrics she should buy? She's mad because her opinion is not winning an issue that is not about her. Good riddance, in my opinion. Not the a-hole. After being told on previous occasions of your child's sensory issues, it seems a bit disrespectful of her to ignore said issues to continue gifting clothing that your son can't wear. She especially has no right to get angry, invalidate your son's sensory issues, and call you a bad parent for being understanding and accommodating to him. Update. We, husband 32 male and me 26 female, have been told by his brother 37 male and sister-in-law 30s female that we should supply all Christmas gifts for the kids due to our lack of kids. Original post. My husband has a very large family. In total, I think his father has 8 brothers/sisters. They all got married and had 2 to 6 children each. Now all their children are grown up and starting families as well. We're looking at easily, I believe, 15 children and the family is off right now. We all get together for Christmas every year at his grandparents' house. Sounds great, right? Right. Normally after Thanksgiving or on Thanksgiving, which they also all get together for, we pick names for the children's gift swap. There is also a man and women gift swap which my husband and I, who do not have children, join in on. Now, to give you an idea of how the gifting has been the last 10 years. Husband and I would buy gifts for his parents, his brother and wife and their 4 kids. Great. Awesome. Works fine. Last year they said they would rather we just bought gifts for the kids. So we did. Same thing we'd always gotten them books at their reading level. PJs and puzzles of some kind. They were upset, but we couldn't place why. We also didn't get any gifts at all, which we didn't comment on. But my husband admitted he was a bit hurt to get nothing from his parents versus his brother and sister-in-law getting gifts. I am not a super social person, so I spent most of Thanksgiving reading a book and watching one of the youngest cousins sleep. Eventually, we all gathered up so the kids could draw names of their cousins for the gift swap. They finished that up, and then husband's brother, who we'll just call Timmy, says, "And Uncle, my husband, will buy all the kids a gift too." Cue my husband and I giving him looks of "the heck and screw you." We laughed and said, "Oh no, haha, we'll just be bringing the candy again this year." His brother then started in that we should buy all of the children gifts since we have none, and that it wasn't very Christian of us not bless the children with our good fortune. My husband at this point pulled him aside into the kitchen and told him he wasn't buying all of the cousins' gifts, and if he wanted to, he was welcome too. They started to argue and Timmy yelled that we should not come for Christmas anymore. I handed over the baby. We left, said we'd email them about it later when they calmed down enough to talk like adults. I would just like someone else's viewpoint. My husband is really upset, and his parents are agreeing with Timmy that we should be giving more gifts, since we have no one to buy them but for kids now. He threw the fact that we get no gifts from anyone at them, and they said we were adults now, and Christmas is for kids. He pointed out they gifted Tim and his wife things still, but they said that we'd already bought it, might as well. But I have been shopping with his mother, and she bought gifts for Tim and his wife candy again this year already. I'm frustrated and feel like no one is handling any of this well. I don't want to step in and help my husband, but I want someone else to look at this mess before I do anything other than listen and offer suggestions of using "I feel blank when you blank" to his parents. Edit. Replied to some comments, showed husband thread, send email. Haven't been answering phone calls from them. Ask them to please just read and reply via email so that we have time to think and respond calmly. Got a lot of nasty voicemails for it. Going to let them simmer some more and keep ignoring their calls since they keep yelling. Now for the top advice before reading the first update. Holy crap, what a bunch of selfish and manipulative people. That's the most ridiculous suggestion I've ever heard. Now, I don't know if you're child-free, not at that stage in your life yet, or have been trying but haven't conceived, but it doesn't freaking matter. Just because you don't have kids doesn't mean you have to buy presents for everyone else's kids. That's insane. I don't even know how anyone would justify that, honestly. If it comes up again, ask them to explain why they think that's an appropriate thing to ask, and state that while you are glad to have all your nieces and nephews, you don't think it's reasonable for you to be expected to buy them all gifts. Ask if they are going to get you a present from every one of your nieces/nephews. If they bring up that you're not being very Christian BS, remind them that true Christianity is not about material goods. It's about love, not cheap crap from Walmart. His brother and sister-in-law are butthurt that Opie and Hubs have disposable income and probably have nicer things and less stressful life. Taking care of 6 people at a max only for 2 working is still hard unless they make real good money. They sell kazoos in bulk in Amazon for under $6. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Don't forget to encourage the kids to play them as often as possible to develop their musical skills. After all, music helps kid with math or whatever. So, you're supposed to buy gifts for 15 kids since you don't have any? And you get kicked out of Christmas if you don't. Sounds like it's time to start a new tradition that doesn't involve insane relatives. Maybe a cruise. Cruises are nice. This is the craziest part to me. Just no semblance of logic. I have 2 kids, so I buy presents for my 2 kids. You have no kids? You have to buy presents for 15 kids. How the heck do you arrive at that conclusion? Now for the first update. Thanks for everyone who came and tossed in their 2 cents. It was wonderful to hear from other people without having to worry if they would repeat my chatter to the other party involved. So, I'm not 100% sure where I should start. I am about 3 drinks in just to calm myself. For one, I did show my husband a post after we talked. I brought up T-Day 2015. I'd asked him if he wanted some more input that I normally give on his family drama. He said yes. I pointed out the favoritism of his brother over him in almost anything. I made a list showing times when it had happened where they and he were fully in the wrong just to prove the point. We went over the texts from his brother, sister-in-law, mother, father, aunt, and cousin. Just to recap names. Brother Timmy, sister-in-law Candy, mother Rhonda, father Keith, aunt Kira, cousin Ben, husband Todd. This is shorter than husband. I'm lazy. So the day I posted after we went over the text, which started after we missed their call, and went up until we sent the email, all just spiteful garbage about how we waste our money, time and life volunteering and don't spend enough time with our children, /cousins, /cousins' children, /family anymore. It started out telling Todd he was being a candy butt B-word who was whipped by his cold, harpy child-hating wife, and just degraded from there. Todd only sent back a few saying he'd email him about it and asking him to not talk about me. So we sent the email. Here is basically what we sent. I semi-edited it. Todd sends it as if it was just from him. We almost added in his parents but decided we'd just forward it to them if it really got out of hand. No problem. Timmy did it for him. Tim, I'm sending you an email so we can talk about what happened on Thanksgiving. I think this would be better for us both since when we are heated we say things rashly. You didn't give me much time to really think about it, so here it goes. I don't understand why you volunteered us to buy gifts. We are happy to buy gifts for your children as we have every year. Is there something going on? Is someone having financial problems? Well, we would gladly help anyone who asks. As we have before, you should recall Kathy and Kiki 2 years ago. We helped too. Being set up in front of young children was rude. Not to mention you telling us we aren't allowed at Christmas now. The texts and angry voicemails were also uncalled for. Please take some time and get back to me. I hope we can work this out as our family is very important to us. Todd. Yes, well, that went over about as well as water on a grease fire. For one, Timmy forwarded the email to Rhonda and Keith, Kira and Ben. That was rude, but we were going to do the same way either way. Ben sent us an email letting us know what Timmy did and said he was sorry he wasn't there to jump in, but would try and talk to Timmy. Timmy and Ben are actually really close, so it was nice to see he thought Timmy was being unreasonable as well, since they are normally very close / like-minded. I'm not going to put his email here. I'm just going to highlight what is said then tell you what Keith and Rhonda said in their email / visit. I'm a cold, child-hating harpy and I sleep around. I'm an atheist, or a Muslim, or something he never really picked. I am dragging Todd from the church and his family. We don't spend any time at all with the family anymore. We never spend any time with our nibblings. We are wasting our life / time / money volunteering with animals. Helping / wanting to help refugees was un-American. And this is my fault since I'm a first-generation American and don't understand what it means to be one / deserve to live here. I'm rude and never talk to them unless it's about animal rescue / animal rights. Yeah, so, At this point, we're kind of laughing and kind of crying and kind of shocked. We spent the rest of the day cleaning up our house and talking about what we wanted to do / reply back. We hadn't checked our email and we'd stuck our phones on vibrate and we're just trying to enjoy our day off together. They're pretty rare, sadly. So surprise, his parents drove all the way out to talk to us. I say talk, but it was more like being talked at. They asked me to leave so they could talk to Todd about his actions / rude email. Todd said no, said I was his family and his wife and we were handling this together. They then tried to convince us we had said the F word in front of the family. We didn't. That we had mentioned buying gifts for everyone before. That we didn't love Jesus anymore since we hadn't been going to church. And some of what Timmy has sent in the email too. When his father started to insult me and then in turn my father, Todd was done. He stood up and said, "Thank you for coming to visit us in our home for the first time, but we have errands to run and you need to leave now." They refused. He told them they had to go now or he'd have to call the police. They left. He cried, I cried, our cats knocked over their cups. We ended up calling my dad and told him everything, as well as showing him both emails. He told us they have before talked trash about me / us to him. We should be able to fix your child still, we're still working in hours, was something he told us had been said. We decided we aren't going to their Christmas either way. I told Todd I can't go back there again, nor can I look at any of them the same again. I knew they'd always not like me as much as some of the other daughter-in-laws, but I didn't know it was to that extent. They have always been nice and polite to my face, invited and included me in all events. No one had ever said anything to Todd either. As it stands, I'm waiting for my dad and brother to get into town, and then we're going to sit down and decide what we would like to do. Todd said he just wants it to be small, and doesn't mind where Christmas happens and said he felt closer to my dad and brother anyway. We told Ben what happened and shipped his gift to him. I haven't decided yet what I will do with the Nibblings gifts, but I already donated all of the adult gifts. Edit. I'd also like to add I'm not of another ethnicity. My father is German and moved to the US when he was 20 to marry my mother. So I'm a pasty white chick, but I guess since my dad isn't American, that's bad. Now for more comments before the final update. This is really awful. But what stood out to me was how united the two of you are in this. It sucks for Todd that he now has a full realization of how terrible his family is. That's hard for him, and I know he's going to be dealing with a lot of emotions from this. But the two of you took this hit together, and that's awesome. So a bit of silver lining, maybe? We weren't always this way. When we went through my family drama with my mother, sisters, and her family and some of my dad's, it was hell. We were not united. He was semi-friends with my mother, and she sob-storied him into believing a lot of lies I had come to question about my childhood. So we then fought like cats and dogs until finally he listened, and I spoke what I was thinking and feeling. It could have ended then. I would have my dad and brother and nothing else, but we worked it out. We communicated, forgave each other, made a game plan for handling my mother's manipulative BS, and went to war. In the end, I would do anything for Todd. I'd even put up with going and being around his family again next year once the wounds healed a bit. I know it will be a lot harder for him to give up on them than it would be for me too. I suggested we both revisit the therapist I was seeing before when we dealt with my family. I think it will help him identify some other issues. Thanks for reading and a chain of comments/compliments. We both appreciate it. Our cats knocked over their cups. Your cats are pretty badass. Seriously though, I'm sorry. But it sounds like you and your husband have been handling this like a united front, and that's awesome. He demanded love. The other cats cleaned up the water. It worked out. 10 over 10 would adopt 4 cats again. I'm proud of your husband for standing up for you. Go him. His family sucks. They really are terrible, greedy people. You were better off without them. It always sucks when a partner is wrapped into the manipulation of their family. Nice to see them sticking together for a change. This is kind of like our second rodeo, only we didn't see it coming at all. Now for the final update. I wish this update was we all made up and Christmas will be so great, but it's not. Yesterday we had a small Christmas party with some friends, since we will be leaving the 24th for a holiday. Myself, Todd, Dad, and brother who I'll name Theo. My friend Sandy grew up near me. We've been friends for years and she became friends with Timmy and his wife too. They're friends together on Facebook. We had told her that there was a tiff but didn't elaborate to not damage their friendship. Big mistake. Since she tagged us in her "ooh, look at my gift" /QQ my friend is leaving for my Christmas post. The photos of the two of us drinking while dancing around her new Roomba. I will note this isn't just for her Christmas. It's for her Christmas, birthday, and her wedding, as well as a housewarming gift. Her and her soon-to-be husband Bill just bought a new townhouse near us. I normally wouldn't buy something that expensive just for Christmas. So, Timmy saw the post. Not only did it take offense to us drinking, none of them drink / are against drinking. He really flipped his lid about her getting a Roomba. He lost his crap in the comments and then showed up at our apartment. I was in the shower when Timmy showed up. I heard someone knocking on the door, which had to be pretty loud to hear it all the way into the master's bedroom shower. I finished the shower around midway through Todd and Tim fighting. Todd said he was beating the door down. He opened the door and refused to let Tim in any further than the hallway. Tim was yelling at him about the gift, about his lack of church going, about his going out of town, demanding his kids' gifts. I donated them, and asking where we got off buying such a pricey gift for someone who isn't related, and being selfish a-holes about gifting the other children. So around this point I come out of the shower after putting on PJs. It's nearly 1 a.m. now. I came out to see Timmy. I'm kinda shocked. Todd tells Tim it's late and we can't talk about this when we get back from holiday with the pastor. He pushes Todd. Todd falls back into the wall, putting a dent into it. This woke my dad and Theo. I moved in front of Todd since Tim was pulling back to hit him. He hit me, knocking me down on top of Todd. Dad and Theo restrained him. Our next door neighbor was woken up and called 911. Cops showed up, separated all of us. We told them what had happened, didn't tell them about the other problems, shortened it up to there had been a Christmas disagreement. They also called an ambulance since Todd cut his arm on a dish that broke, and my face was quickly turning purple. The EMS showed up, no Todd, and was very upset about him and I being hurt. The cops asked us if we wanted to press charges. I started to say no, but Todd said yes. So Tim was arrested. and we went to the ER since Todd needed some stitches. Our phones have been blowing up ever since. I turned mine off after I told Sandy she needed to not let Tim and Candy see any posts about us, since they're pissed at us. She said okay. I went through and unfriended/grouped anyone who was also friends with any in-law/family into a restricted group so they can't see anything we're up to again. I hope. Rhonda and Keith have been blowing up Todd's phone. He's only answered them in text with what happened, that we would not drop charges or pay his bail, and to stop contacting us at all. Between the last update and this one, we had talked to some of the other family members and they all said they disagreed with Timmy. His grandparents said they did too, but that they couldn't host the Christmas and couldn't stop him from uninviting us. They said they would talk to him and we were like, okay, cool. Maybe by next year we can be friends again. That isn't the case anymore. At all. There is no coming back from this. We'll be filing a restraining order when we get home. Todd is talking about us moving out of our home state. Dad and Theo think this is a good idea. Dad is annoyed that I wouldn't let him hit Tim, so is sulking a bit. But I think it's more that he's upset that we have lost another family basically. So yeah. I get to enjoy my trip with a black eye/cheek. Todd has a 4-inch gash on his arm. Dad is sulking and Theo is happy since he's smoking pot. So A+ Christmas. Update. Am I the a-hole for getting hurt and upset over a harmless prank that my husband pulled? Original post. So me and my husband have been married for 5 years. We are currently female 24 and male 33. Way before we met when I was 16, my mom's house had a house fire that burnt literally everything down. And sadly, my childhood cat was also killed in it. I remember my mom and brother waking me up screaming, "Fire! Fire! Get up! Get up!" We crawled out under the smoke and luckily my neighbors had already called the fire department and they pulled us out. We lost literally everything. We were devastated. So that was a while ago, but it still really scares me. And I checked outlets and our stove and candles and everything all the time. My husband knows this about me. So 2 nights ago, I went to bed early because I am currently 34 weeks pregnant, literally about to pop. I was sleeping for a while before, for some reason, my husband decided to wake me up by yelling, "Baby, there's a fire! Fire, fire, fire! Get up!" As quick as I could get up at 34 weeks, I did, and grabbed my purse. I was just in automatic shock, and just autopilot and knew what I needed what to grab. I made it all the way down the stairs, yelling for my husband to follow me, before he started laughing and telling me it was a joke. It took a minute for that to process. I stood there with an open mouth while he laughed and ushered me down the rest of the stairs. I sat down on the couch and just started sobbing. It was genuinely the hardest I've ever sobbed. It's like I couldn't get myself to stop, and my whole body was shaking. My heart was racing and I couldn't breathe. I have never had this experience before. I was genuinely so panicked. I was so freaking upset. My husband apologized and was like, "Oh my god, I'm sorry. It was just a joke." I just cried until he eventually was like, "What the heck? It was just a prank. This is really dramatic." After a few hours, I had calmed myself down and went to apologize to him. He wouldn't take it. He said I was being overdramatic and made him feel like crap for a harmless prank. So I guess, am I the a-hole? I've never been good at taking jokes. I've been trying to be less sensitive, but I don't know. Not the a-hole. What the heck is wrong with him? Using her past trauma for a prank? What the heck is wrong with him for making an expectant mother fear for her life just for shits and giggles? What the heck is wrong with him for putting the burden of guilt on you when his life and death joke made you upset? What the heck is he thinking, making a half-asleep, very pregnant, probably off-balance, and terrified woman rush downstairs? The stress and adrenaline could have sent her into early labor. OP should let him know his prank endangered her and the baby. Dramatic for her crying? He's lucky he's still breathing after pulling that despicable stunt. The adrenaline and cortisol released actually does affect the baby. There are studies that prove that too many of these hormones during pregnancy can cause the baby to have lifelong health issues, including and not limited to neurological issues, gastrointestinal issues, heart health, mental health, etc. And then the husband is going to cry because OP is making him feel guilty. Because the whole entire world revolves around him. If he has to feel guilty for a minute for doing something super crappy to his pregnant wife, Well, damn it, he's going to turn that right around on her as fast as he possibly can. It's like her past traumas there just for shits and giggles in his mind. And pregnancy hormones aren't even a thing he's remotely aware of. OP should take a break from her husband, at least until she can get this baby born, because this is just sick. No, you're absolutely not the a-hole. That wasn't a harmless prank when he knows your past trauma. It also wouldn't have been a harmless prank even without that trauma, because you are pregnant. The adrenaline spike from something like that could have easily sent you into preterm labor. And while I'm sure you feel ready to pop, you're not yet full term, and the baby's lungs are the last to develop. He's definitely the a-hole, but more than that, that was psychological abuse. It was not a prank, it was not funny, and it very well could have done physical harm as well. And now he's trying to gaslight you into thinking that you're the problem? Please be very careful and keep yourself safe. When I read what he did, my first thought was, this is not a harmless prank. I know babies can survive outside of the womb at 34 weeks, but the risk of complications is so high at this stage still. He literally put his wife and child's lives at risk for a joke that isn't even funny. Now for the update. A month ago, I posted my first post, which is still up on my account. I was terrified and hurt and confused, and the comments really helped me sort through everything going on. A week after that incident, I went into preterm labor and gave birth to my baby at 35 weeks. A week after that, my husband beat me unconscious when he caught me Googling the signs of an abusive marriage after he coerced me into 6-week postpartum. Today, I filed for divorce and secured a restraining order on him. My husband will never lay a hand on me or my baby ever again. I cannot confidently say that I would have made that decision without the help of my original post, so thank you so very much. I think maybe people do not realize how much you can help a stranger on the internet, but you can. And all of you did. I will be the woman who leaves after the first time. I will be the best mother I can be, and that starts with leaving him. Thank you. Holy crap. That went from 0 to 1 million in an instant. Glad you're out of there. Never look back. I know, right? That beat me unconscious segment was such a random shock. Freaking hell. What a POS. Unfortunately, that kind of escalation is common. Women are in the greatest danger when they leave. It's why so many people give tips like, don't let him know what you're planning. Set aside some money, get everything ready, leave when he's not home. This guy had major red flags. Once she started to see them, he stopped with the manipulation and psychological tactics and moved on to the physical tactics. OMG, a week after? I am so sorry this happened. I had stitches, so I could hardly go to the bathroom. I couldn't imagine having sex. I'm so glad to hear you're safe and got out quickly. Smart move. Good luck, OP. Same, I read that and did a full body cringe. It took way more than the 6 weeks for it to not hurt down there. He's such a piece of crap. I hope you had him charged with assault as well. To protect your future custody, please press charges. If you don't, he could easily get visitation and possibly 50-50 custody. You do not want to have to co-parent with this POS. Having documents that show you pressed charges, even if they don't stick, can go a long way. Amen. As a DV victim who has children with my abuser, yes, you have to do this to protect your children. I didn't get the chance to because I did not take pictures or file a report with the police. I also didn't think he would ever hurt my children. Now he plays the same mind games and is so mean to my children. I fear for their lives every time they are with him. Please, please, please listen to this advice to protect your peace and child's life. Next story. Am I the a-hole for locking my girlfriend out of the basement so I could eat in peace? I am 39 and male. My girlfriend is 41. We have lived together for a bit over a year in my house. During the time that I have lived with my girlfriend, I've become very used to the fact that she really seems to distress by complaining. Much of this complaining is about other people in her life, such as her mother and her former co-workers, but much of this complaining is about me and how I'm not meeting her expectations in one way or another. I'm generally fine listening to her rant and will make all the appropriate motions to show that I'm listening. But a few months back, her complaining increased significantly in frequency. Again, I'm happy to listen to her, but the one time that I do not want to listen to complain is when I'm eating. Breakfast time isn't an issue because she's still asleep when I eat it. And lunchtime is fine because I work 6 days a week and I'm out for lunch. But I would really love nothing more than to just have a quiet dinner. It's especially irritating because she gets upset when I don't answer her fast enough, even when I'm chewing. She'll start saying, hello, hello, hello. Are you even listening? As I try to swallow the food quickly and answer her. I expressed this to her a few months back. I put it as nicely as possible with the excuse that I don't do well with talking during mealtime. If anything, it has had the opposite effect. I'm convinced that she's actually timing her complaints to begin when I start eating dinner now. While I'm making my dinner, she'll be quiet. And when I sit down waiting for it to cool, she'll be quiet. But once the fork reaches my mouth, she'll immediately start complaining. Last Saturday, I told her that I couldn't deal with her complaining during dinner time anymore, and that if she did it again, I would start eating elsewhere. She responded, yeah, okay, fine. Then she sat down at the table and stared at me. When I took my first bite, she said, oh, by the way, today you kicked one of my shoes when you were putting yours on. It made me feel like you only care about your own things and not mine. I stood up and went down to the basement to eat, locking the door behind me. I've taken to doing this for every day since, and she'll bang on the door at times. At other times, she has demanded I give her a key, as I have the only copy. Today she was literally crying and begging me to eat dinner at the table, but I said no. Now she's threatening to take the door off its hinges while I'm at work, so I know I have to lock it from the outside before going tomorrow. Am I in the wrong here? Now for the comments. This is so toxic. Please end this ASAP. I was reading and wondering why it has taken him this long to just tell her, shut up and we are done. Move out ASAP. I don't like whiny people at the best of times. When it is my me time, which I have pointed out, I find them intolerable to the extreme. Because people who avoid conflicts, people pleasers, and people who are too friendly often end up in abusive relationships. They just never learn to stand up to themselves. And then when you start standing up, they don't like it and get nastier. Why are you with someone this miserable? I cannot imagine listening to someone complain every mealtime, all day, every day. Are you really going to do this for the next 20 years or more? Yikes, not the a-hole. It's not even about her being miserable. It's more about her engaging in emotional abuse. A partner who constantly complains and blames is abusive. I can completely understand someone might want to confront a partner for one reason or another at times, but the fact that she actually decided to go into a tirade about him accidentally kicking her shoe when he put his own shoes on just shows she'll complain about literally anything. There's also the fact that even after he asked her to stop for the short time it takes him to eat dinner, she completely ignored him and intentionally timed her complaining for when she knew he didn't want to listen to it. I cannot understand why some people in this post seem to think OP is wrong. I know this doesn't apply to you, but some people are suggesting that this is his fault. The man is in an abusive relationship. The time to leave was ages ago, but now is the second best time. When someone threatens to take a door off its hinges, the relationship is over. You locked her out of the basement. That's a good first step. Now do the same with the rest of your house. Be careful, or she might threaten to take the front door off its hinges too, lol. He better takes that serious, as she sounds like a professional of unhinge. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my ex-wife's new husband to leave me alone and focus on her being obsessed with me? I, 33 male, was married to my ex-wife Cindy for about 6 years until I found out that she was having an affair with her current husband Jake. And they got married immediately after our divorce was final. Now that you lovely folks are caught up, let's get to the issue. Last week my ex texted me out of the blue and was telling me she's unhappy with her husband. I simply ignored the messages until her husband Jake showed up to my house ready to fight me because he saw what my ex-wife sent me. Mind you, I hadn't even viewed the messages, so I decided to view them. And the messages were basically videos of her twerking naked that I showed her husband and told him, you need to be more angry with your wife because you noticed I didn't even respond, but you over here mad at me. He left after that, and behold, the witch in question is now mad at me. So am I the a-hole? This incident didn't require a post is what I think. I disagree. If OP never posted this, I never would have had the opportunity to give OP the following advice. OP, your only option here is to assert dominance. Make your own naked twerking videos and send them to the husband. It's the only way to resolve this. Nah, raise the bar. Send one to him where you're staring very intensely at the camera while furiously self-pleasuring through a video. Not a-hole. Oh geez, an unfaithful ex-wife is looking to step out of her new marriage? Who would have guessed? In other news, the sky is blue and water is wet. How you get them is how you lose them. Cheaters are gonna cheat. Affair partners don't win in the competition. They're just a layover point until the next affair. Not the a-hole. So, she's realizing her soulmate, fantasy prince, white knight isn't so great after all. The affair partner, now husband, was a fool to get involved with her in the first place. Not only was she cheating on you with him, she was also cheating on him with you. Just your mere existence in her life was enough. She was cheating on two men at the same time. Next time you see the fool, tell him that, and thank him for taking her off your hands. If they will cheat with you, they will cheat on you too, and she already has. She's his adulterous problem now and not to bother you anymore. You need to block her everywhere. If you have children together, use a parenting app for communication about the children only. If no kids involved, block them both everywhere on everything. You're divorced now. There is no reason to keep lines of communication open with her anymore, unless children are involved. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not staying up to book my girlfriend a taxi? My girlfriend was going out with friends on Saturday. There was an event on at the club in town, so they were going for food and then a few drinks, then going to the club. She asked what I was planning for the evening, and I said I'd likely just have a couple of drinks, order some food and play video games, and watch Netflix and have a nice chilled night. She got a bit annoyed and said she might have asked me to pick her up, but I can't if I'm drinking. I said she could always get a taxi like she usually does. She asked if I'd book it for her, and I said I would if I was awake, but that there's a good chance I'll already be asleep. She said I should wait up then, but I just pointed out the club night finishes at 3 a.m., so I'm not waiting up until 3 just to possibly book a taxi. I pointed out she's more than capable of sorting out her own taxis. She said she wasn't asking for much and that it's only one night, but I just said she can't expect me to sit around waiting for her. She just said again that she wasn't asking for much, and I should be fine with helping her. I told her again to text me when she's finished, and if I'm awake, I'll book a taxi. But if not, she's more than capable of booking it herself, or getting a friend to book it. Am I the a-hole for not staying up to book a taxi? Who broke her arms and fingers and mobile device? Why can't she book it herself? Pretty sure you can book a taxi ahead of time too, at least where I live you can. Not a-hole, she is though. I am thinking she wants to power play here. Basically, she is trying to see if he would fold on a night she is off having fun out with her friends, while he is sitting at home by the window waiting to book a taxi to come back to him. I'm actually petty enough that I would not book it, but will also still be awake when she gets back. Whatever she says to that, my response would be, you did it yourself and got yourself home and the world did not stop spinning. Also, isn't this what Uber was designed for? Helping drunk partygoers get home? Not a-hole OP, but your girlfriend sounds a bit like a piece of work. My limited view at all. If she can manage to get into a club, she can manage to call her own damn cab. Not the a-hole. Bro, she just doesn't want to pay. I don't think it's gold digging. I think it's game playing. Sometimes people, especially younger ones, will either with full awareness and deliberation or unconsciously come up with little tests and tasks for the people they are dating to do to prove their love and devotion to them. Update. My 25 female husband's 28 male friend, 28 female, told him that I'm cheating on him and that it is best to open our relationship and that she could help us. Original post. It all started a few weeks ago when we were having dinner with some friends, and one of them in particular began to joke that after 13 years together, surely one of us already got bored of the other. And she, 28 female, said that surely the one who got bored first was me, 25 female, because I'm the attractive one in the relationship. I know that it affected my husband, 28 male, because that night, he joked that he was actually lucky that I paid attention to him. But I thought at that moment that he would just forget about it. But he didn't. He started asking me all the time if I love him, if I'm happy with him, if I would change something about our relationship, and things like that. And yesterday while we were talking about it, I told him that I would not change him for anything or anyone. And he started crying, which was really weird because he rarely cries, and I didn't like seeing him like this. So I spoke with his sister whom he is really close. She told me that for weeks, one of our friends has been telling him that he should prepare for the day that I cheat on him or leave him. And she also told him that she thinks I'm already seeing someone else. That if he wants it to be less painful for him, it's best to open the relationship. That if he wants, she and her boyfriend can help us open our marriage, since it would be easier because we both know them. That this will help us because we will be able to experiment with more people. And I will not get bored of him. And he will also be able to have fun with her like the lifelong friends they are. According to his sister, he told her that he hates those things, but if I want to do it, he will let me experiment with more people. And to be honest, I hate everything that has to do with open relationships too. If you like it, great, but it's not my thing. And I thought that I was always clear with that. That's why I don't even know why that friend said that. She has an open relationship, but she was never one of those people who wants everyone to be like them. She used to respect us, so I don't know what happened. How can I make him understand that she lied about me because she probably just wants to sleep with him? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Y'all got together when you were 12 and he was 16? 12 and 15. My best friend's daughter, now 21, got together with her boyfriend when they were in 5th grade as boyfriend and girlfriend. So 11, 12, but not sexually until late high school. They've been together ever since. Sometimes it just works out that way. Same for us. We were only romantically involved and it was that way until I was 16. She's saying all of it because it's a power trip. She's jealous of you and wants to hurt you by showing you she can get with your husband. Talk to your husband. Tell him you know what she's been saying and that you were hurt, disgusted, and betrayed by her behavior. Calmly and gently tell him his doubts in you and your commitment hurt. That you mean it when you tell him he is the love of your life and you meant your vows. If he meant his, he goes no contact with his horrible friend. Now, that you feel a bit betrayed that he didn't immediately talk to you when she started manipulating him and trying to brainwash him to destroy his marriage. Block now, and she does not deserve an explanation. With friends like that, who needs enemies? Husband should not have listened to her and talked to his wife instead. This is how distrust starts to brew. Sounds like you need a new group of friends, because I have no idea why you're still entertaining them. And when you take your exit, you should punch whomever it is in the face for putting these accusations out there. Jokes aside, I don't know how you could maintain a friendship with these types of people who throw your damn marriage into a spiral. Would not even be a second thought to me. They're out of my life for good if they're making false accusations against me. Okay, let's review. 1. She injects insecurity into your husband, basically telling him that you either will cheat or have cheated or want to cheat, and there's no reason for you to stay with him. 2. She tells him that, reading between the lines, an open relationship is the only way to handle that without losing you in the process. 3. She tells him that her and her partner are the way to start getting into open relationships. Seems to me she's a freaking snake who just wants to bang your hubby, but knows he's too good a man to cheat on you. What you do is end a friendship with her. Tell your husband that as far as you are concerned, the only threat to the marriage is the BS she's saying. You don't want an open relationship. You want him. And she knows that. So for her to say these things says to you that she has an ulterior motive. And for that reason, you suggest that you and he, as a couple, end that friendship. She lied because she wants your husband. Ask him if he ever would have thought all of those things from anything you yourself have said or done. If you have been consistently faithful, loving, and happy with him, why would she repeatedly tell him otherwise? If she had his best interest truly at heart, wouldn't she be trying to bolster his confidence and encourage his marriage? Instead, she is undermining his confidence and placing doubt in his mind, things that can easily push a marriage into trouble. See if you can get him to see that her behavior is not that of a friend. It is the behavior of a person with an agenda, who doesn't care if they hurt others. And now for the update. I talked to my husband and he told me everything she told him. Apparently, she's been telling him for months that he is not attractive enough to keep me for long. that love is not everything and that looks are important to everyone, and that people who say they don't care about beauty are lying. And that angered me so much, because for me, my husband is really beautiful, and I love him more than anyone in this world. If it wasn't like that, I wouldn't have been with him for 13 years, and she knows that. And the worst part is that my husband believed her because she destroyed his self-esteem with all those things that are not true, just because she wanted to sleep with him. And one of her partners, who I think she said in his late 40s or something, with me. Or at least that's what she said. She has 2 boyfriends or whatever, and one of them apparently knows me. I don't know how, because we never met him. And he told her that he would like to know if he could have a chance with me. That's why she's been messing with my husband's mind all these months. That's what she told us when we confronted her. She also admitted that she likes my husband, not romantically, but physically. And that's why she also wanted to convince him to sleep with her, because she has liked him for years. Honestly, I don't understand anything about that world of having 2 or more partners. But I'm not interested in knowing anything either. I just know that I find it disgusting. If you want to have a harem, that's up to you. Personally, I don't want that, and I find it disgusting that they don't understand it. Like, respect the people that don't like that. Is that so difficult to understand? She apologized many times, but my husband didn't forgive her, and I don't intend to forgive her either. She behaved like an idiot, and it is impossible for her to win back our trust. On the other hand, my husband and I are fine. Of course, we had a lot of talks about what happened these last few weeks and about our relationship, but we're fine, and that's all that matters to me, that our little family's well, for us and for our children. Block her and everything, both of you. Cut her out of your lives. Agree. These are not the actions of a friend. Cast this viper out of your midst. Also, make sure to drag her on main, because I bet your husband's ear isn't the only ear she was dripping venom into. Additionally, and this will require a more deft touch, you have to address your husband problem. We all have insecurities, but he allowed his to go on for months and take complete control and undermine your trust. He was apt to pray for this, apparently. Maybe he could have resisted, maybe he was powerless. Point is, he fell for it and it can happen again. He needs to work that out by himself, as in get some therapy. I'm really happy to hear of this outcome and that the cooler heads have prevailed. She is a snake. She was more than happy to break up a 13-year-long relationship, just so that one of her F-buddies could have a chance with you. This is not just behaving like an idiot. This is very insidious behavior. Please cut her off from your immediate and extended family completely. You would need to let all your friends and family know exactly what she did. Don't think of having mercy on her or let this slide. She certainly wasn't thinking about that when she was trying to poison your marriage. The reason why you would want this to be known far and wide, because if she did this to you without compunction, she may very well do it again and again with other couples that are happily together. She may be more than happy to leave broken marriages in her path for her own personal pleasure. Next story. My best friend confessed feelings to my girlfriend and now she wants to cut him out of our life. I said our life and not mine because she says she cannot control me, but she never wants to be around him anymore. So if she and I are together, she doesn't want to see him. She also says I should really think how good of a friend he is, if he is confessing feelings and saying I love you to his best friend's girlfriend and future wife. I, 28 male, have been dating my girlfriend, 30 female, for 2 years now. And honestly, it's the best relationship of my life. We have discussed engagement and marriage, and have also met each other's families. My best friend, 27 male, on the other hand, is someone I have known for almost 8 years, and even lived with him for 4 years. In fact, that's how I met him, as roommates. Till 2 days ago, I never would have suspected that he saw my girlfriend in any other way than his best friend's girlfriend and would be life partner. But yesterday night, my girlfriend came home from office and said we need to talk and told me what had transpired. My girlfriend and my best friend's office buildings are in the same tech park, so they occasionally see each other. And that's why when my best friend joined her when she was having tea, it didn't surprise her. But what he said surprised her though. He told her that he was harboring a crush on her since I introduced them, and he could no longer keep it to himself since we were discussing getting engaged. He said he owed it to himself to tell her. My girlfriend told him to F off and walked away. She also blocked him immediately on every platform. Then she told me. I asked my best friend what happened and he admitted to it, but also said he never asked her to cheat on me. He was just confessing his feelings. My girlfriend, on the other hand, says there was no point confessing his feelings, and he definitely didn't have noble intentions as he claims. She says she doesn't want anything to do with him because he betrayed both of us and disrespected our relationship. I am a little torn here. Of course, I am angry at him, but I also have a lot of history with the guy. Would appreciate some advice. Thank you. Now for the top advice before the mini update. Your girlfriend did exactly what one should do if they are in a committed relationship. And yes, she is right in cutting him out of her life and your joint life. And she is also right that you should seriously consider cutting him from your life as well. Actually, let's put it another way. If you don't cut him from your life, can you ever really trust him? And on top of that, your girlfriend will probably end up leaving you over it. Sounds like he would rather have a crappy friend than a good girlfriend/wife. She's most upset about how disrespectful it is to OP. Sounds like a great woman. Hope he realizes that. How many people would do what she did in this situation? LMFAO. Dude has a golden life partner, and he's worried about this piece of turd friend who wants his girl. Man, I wish my ex did that when his best friend confessed his feelings to him. It didn't matter that his best friend was male and that my ex was straight. It still bothered me to no end when my ex put his friend's needs over mine, just because they were best friends. It's awkward as hell when I'm on the couch with my head on my ex's shoulder, and the best friend sits on the other side of him and does the same. This was a constant thing, and I definitely hated his friend's attitude towards me when all three of us hung out. Hurt a lot because he was my friend too. We might have stayed together if it weren't for his friend. I asked my best friend what happened, and he admitted but also said he never asked her to cheat on me. He was just confessing his feelings. This expressing your feelings thing has really gotten ridiculous as of late. You have rationality to gauge whether your emotions are valid or not, and just kill it right there and then if it's not productive to harbor. Can you imagine pedos just go up to kids and express their feelings? Mini update. Thank you guys. I accept I was being a tool in how I responded to the situation. He was my best friend, but in this case, he behaved like a stranger who had absolutely no concern or respect for my relationship. It will be hurtful to let the friendship go, but I know this is what needs to happen. As for my girlfriend, I will apologize to her for being a tool, and maybe take her for a weekend pampering session. She's the best. Last story. I don't feel comfortable attending friend group's game night anymore, after a female friend confessed her love for my boyfriend and I'm feeling very conflicted. This girl messaged him the other night point blank, saying that she loves my 28 female, boyfriend 32 male in a non-platonic way. Boyfriend and I share a phone, so I saw the message pop up and let him know what I saw. He seemed kind of surprised but not bothered by it like I was. He said it's normal for people to develop crushes when spending time and having fun together, which sure I agree with, but love? It makes me feel uncomfortable, and I said I didn't want to go to the next game night because I feel like boundaries have been crossed. I feel like I'm going crazy because I'm the only one who finds this really weird and uncomfortable. When I told my boyfriend I'm not going to go and that I'm not going to force any decision on him, he opted for canceling game night instead as we have it at our house. I feel like this is a bit of a cop-out for not dealing with it and setting boundaries with this person. It makes me feel like a prick. I said I could put my feelings aside and that I don't want to ruin things for others, but he insisted he doesn't want me to have to do that. Now he changed his mind and wants to go ahead with it, but I definitely don't feel like going if she's going to be there, and nothing has been resolved. I'm confused and just really need some outside opinions. Thanks. He needs to shut her down immediately and be very clear with her so there is no misunderstanding. That is on him. I would not be comfortable with it, but I certainly wouldn't let her be near him without me around. Good point. It will be an anxious and weird time, but I think I would feel even more anxious if I wasn't there to see what's up. I'm surprised because she didn't seem like the type of person to do that. And I'm worried that boyfriend won't shut it down properly for convenience sake. I guess time will tell. Thanks. 2 things. 1. Doesn't she know you two share a phone? 2. Off topic. But why do you two share phones? I feel like she may know since he's forgotten to switch out of my account in the group chat and messaged. I feel like it's come up that this is the case, since it makes coordinating with a group harder, but I can't say for sure if she does. If my partner didn't shut someone down immediately in these circumstances, I'm afraid I'd be suspicious something had already happened between them. Okay, your feelings are valid, but I think you're going about this slightly wrong. This girl knows your boyfriend is taken, so there was nothing for her to gain by declaring her love for him. This isn't a simple crush. I'm assuming she's in her mid-20s. She should have outgrown this mentality of, oh, I'm in love with this person who is in a steady relationship. I must tell him. Her behavior will only get her hurt. Either she wins your boyfriend, gaining an untrustworthy man, or he refuses her advances. Things get awkward and she loses two friends, you and boyfriend. Either outcome is a net negative for her. The game is held at your house. I don't think you should stop attending game night in your own home, because that's punishing you. You also should not cancel game night, because that's punishing everyone. This friend needs to be banned from game night for a specific period of time. Restore her invitation upon receipt of a genuine apology directed to you and your boyfriend. This seems like the right answer. She's been going through a hard time lately, so maybe it was a moment of crappy judgment, but it's still uncool. I'm going to present this as the option to my boyfriend that makes the most sense. It's super childish, and I don't want to just brush this under the rug. I think my husband's mistress thinks he is richer than he actually is. My best friend thinks I'm a douche because I'm keeping silent. Plus update. Original post. Husband in quotes because we are not married legally. He's 39, me 39, mistress 29, and best friend 39. We have been together for 14 years, living together for 11. He came and told me that he was in love about 3 weeks ago. I was surprised at the lack of care I had to give at receiving such information. I did love him, but maybe my love has always been conditional, and its survival depends on it being reciprocated, because it literally vanished the second he confessed to me that he was in love with another woman. He didn't want a separation, but to maybe open the relationship, or let his feelings for her subside. But I said it was over. It was like I never had feelings for him ever. He was taken aback by my indifference, which I thought, the audacity. Did he want me to be hurt and suffer? I told him that he should be relieved that he didn't cause pain. Instead, he has been sulking since. Last Friday I got home and mistress was there, sitting in my kitchen sipping my tea. I felt nauseous because, seriously? I told him that this wasn't civil at all, and to never be in my home again or I would call the cops. I went to my room and I heard her yelling at him for not standing up for her. Then I heard her say something very curious. Why haven't you kicked her out yet? He was trying to tell her to lower her voice, whispering, "Later, we can discuss this later." She left and he came to me apologizing. He said, "We didn't have here if this is what you are scared of. She just dropped by because I was working from home today." I told him that he had until the end of March to move out and to find somewhere to be during the weekends. This morning, I changed all the locks. From now on, he isn't allowed in my place during my working hours. So if he starts later or finishes earlier, he needs to wait for me to come home and let him in. But his mistress words stuck with me. So during the weekend, I have been stalking her social media. I think she thinks that he is rich, or at least that he owns my apartment. I think she also thinks that my parents' summer house and boat are his. Unfortunately, the loser has taken her there, probably bragging about his wealth, because her hashtags were all about the good life. I was telling my best friend all of this, but she was more agitated than indignant on my behalf. She told me that he was a scum, not telling his mistress the truth. I agreed. I know, right? But then she said I was no better not explaining to her his situation either. I was dumbfounded, but she was serious. I told her that it wasn't my job to bring back mistress to earth, and my best friend got very angry and demanded that I gave her mistress's username so that she could warn her. "No," I said, and she called me a bigger douche than he is then. I don't know what's going on with these people. Have they gone mad, or have I? When did our moral compass go askew like this? Can someone tell me that I am not insane? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Nope, not wrong. Get rid of him and wash your hands. Your bestie sounds delusional. Phew, because I thought something was wrong with me when she got upset. OP, she just demanded that your ex kick you out of your home so that she can move in. Do you really think someone like that deserves the kindness of a heads up? Not to mention she has been drinking your ex's Kool-Aid for a while now, and wouldn't believe anything you say anyway, so why waste your time? As for your friend, they are either a current/former mistress, a gold digger, living in the land of sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns, or were never really a friend to you in the first place. When my ex-husband and I had finally decided to divorce, he came to me to ask if I could clear out of the apartment for the weekend so he could have a friend over. I snapped like a tree branch after an ice storm. I said to him, "You want me to clear out of the apartment that I alone pay the rent and bills for so you can have your girlfriend over? You've got balls, I'll give you that." And no, it's not freaking happening. It was the first time he'd seen me genuinely angry and the only time I ever saw him cowed by anything or anyone. Now I regret not having stood up for myself sooner. But what's done is done. OP, kick his butt out of your life. Let him fend for himself. And I suspect he's got a very rude awakening in store. Wow, it is so satisfying to read your response to that. Good for you for standing up. Absolutely. That moment of realization when you know you've had enough and you stand your ground is priceless. It's like suddenly all the nonsense comes into focus and you're not going to take it anymore. The shock on their faces when they realize the rules have changed is something else. It's good you found your breaking point and put down your foot. Too many stories where that doesn't happen soon enough. Cheers to newfound freedom and self-respect. Lol, you're not responsible for his lies. Kick him out and leave it. He has until the end of March. You also need better friends. What the heck is wrong with you not giving the mistress a heads up? To me, this is a clear case of a full-arounded find out. I have a feeling friend has been in mistress's shoes. Lol. Exactly what I was going to say. I'd keep her at an arm's distance. She's too understanding of a homewrecker. Some homewreckers don't know what they are getting themselves into. Don't know the guy is in a relationship or have been fed lies about the nature of the relationship. But the friend is concerned that the woman is getting into a relationship for money with someone who doesn't have any? Those priorities are pretty suspect. Now for the update. I did it. I had a showdown with my former best friend via text, and I confronted her about her non-existent support when I went to her with my woes. I told her that she concentrated on the wrong issue. She should have been my shoulder to cry on. She should have shown up with wine, ice cream, and a shovel. But instead, she called me a bigger douche than my husband. She tried to gaslight me, and I realized that she's always been a good gaslighter, so I interrupted her before she made me out to be the villain. I asked her bluntly, was your husband married when you started sleeping together? You told us that he was married before. We all knew that, but we were all under the impression that he was married and divorced before you two met. But was he still married? Is that why you related to the mistress and felt sympathy for her? Because you were her? She didn't answer me until next day to call me a bitter and jealous bitch. Wow. This was the last one-on-one interaction with her I have decided. She's been my friend since preschool, but now we need to go our separate ways. Not only to save us from future hurt, but also to save our memories together from hurt. I talked to my husband too, and asked him to not make the separation difficult and bitter that it ruins all the happiness we felt being together, because we cannot think back on 1/3 of our lives with resentment. I asked him to take my dad's offer. He offered to help him find a lease on an apartment and pay half a year's rent if he moved out without giving me problems. When I got home, he and his clothes were gone. He left an apology letter saying that he will always love me and never meant to hurt me. So I have finally been able to cry my eyes out, and it felt so good. I've been crying since I got home. I lost 2 of my closest people, but this is what happens when we hit hardships. We see people's true faces. This is my update. I don't know if anything major will happen to make more updates. It is time for me to move on. Wow, OB. Good for you. Your friend is definitely not worth your time, and your soon-to-be ex should be thanking his lucky stars that you are so kind. You've said it quite succinctly. OB is actually kind-hearted to help the cheater out. Much better reaction than I would have had. And I'm happy that she called out her ex-friend's BS. Projecting much, eh? Just like the comments under her previous post said. She was truly something else, that one. OP, good to cry it out. But hopefully there are better things around a corner for you. Good luck. It is not out of kind-heartedness. I can't just kick the man out without a fight or a bribe. If I had started eviction proceedings, I would need at least 6 months to do so, and I didn't want him in my life for this long. So I'm bribing him. Housing is very scarce, and primary lease is almost impossible. My dad has connections with landlords, so he agreed to move out. He is living with his parents now until he gets his contract. I'm happy it didn't get more complicated. This was what my lawyer advised me to do, because taking the eviction route would have made it drag for months. I feel for Opie. How gutting to find out 2 people so close to you are such dirtbags. I hope we get an update where the mistress finds out. Amen. Reminds me of a post I saw yesterday. Girl's friend had phone sex with a married man and didn't see the problem with it. There are 2 types of affair partners, those that know and those that don't. The latter is whatever, but the former are hell to a man. He left an apology letter saying that he will always love me and never meant to hurt me. Sure was acting like a man who didn't want to hurt her. It looks a lot like he just wanted her to notice him, and went about it with the logic of a 5-year-old. Instead of having a mature conversation and talking about how he felt, he figured having an affair should work. The whole thing is written with such a lack of interest, and the offhand comment about her having her own room, that it sounds like the marriage was dead for a long time. The ex just made it official by being a douche. It all sounds to me like she's not responsible for how much of a prick the ex was, but had a hand in getting to that place. I really don't think she deserved that treatment, but I feel like there is more to the story. The BFF is just bizarre though. It's like she was having an argument about something completely different, while the OP was suffering. Last story. I left my wife and it took her over a week to notice. I, male 35, was married to my wife, female 35, for 8 years. I left her 5 years ago. We are child-free by choice. Her choice. I'd always said we had a good relationship in marriage, but looking back, I see that it was good for her. Here is my story. I've always been the nerdy type. Smart, good grades, but never popular. I am from a very well-off family. Due to my grandparents' inheritance and some smart investments my parents did, I did not have to go to college or work and still have a comfortable life. But I love what I did. I met my wife my first year in college. She was in my class and was looking for a tutor. She was a scholarship kid. We spent more and more time together, but never in the weekend. I wasn't the outgoing type and she would still go out in the weekend. After a while, we started going on dates, and after I graduated, we got married. Looking back, she started making decisions for us as soon as we got together. My wife worked the first half of our marriage, and when her company downsized, she got laid off. She became a stay-at-home wife, who was not at home that much. She had friends she took trips with, had a lot of lunches and dinners with her friends, basically spent my money on her well-off lifestyle. While I remember our love life being passionate in the beginning, it's just that, a memory. When I was 29, I was involved in a car crash. They say a drunk driver totaled my car, but I still have no memory of that day. I was in coma for 2 weeks. After waking up, I had to learn to do a lot again. After 4 months, I went back to work. When I came back home, my wife put me in the spare room. She said it has been like that a while because I was snoring. I kept my mouth shut, but I knew that this was new. The accident somehow gave me clarity of my mind. I could see that a marriage has been over for a while, but I still wanted to see if I could save it. Everything I tried failed. What sealed the deal for me was my 30th birthday. I came home and she was not home. She was having a spa day with her friends. I ordered takeout, watched a movie, and made a decision. The next morning, I went to my lawyer to start drafting divorce papers. I stopped engaging with her unless absolutely necessary. Slowly, I started selling anything that had any emotional value to me. I left all her stuff for her. I bought a new car and left it at a parking garage not so far from our home. 1 month later, all I had left were my clothes and a couple of laptops, projector, portable screen. Everything I needed to work from the road. I did not quit my job. I arranged for it to be completely remote. 2 months after my birthday, I stayed while my wife was at just another lunch with her girls. I took the new car, packed everything I needed in it, left the divorce papers and a letter on my bed in the spare room, and closed the door to my house for the last time, wondering how long it would take for her to notice. I decided to drive across the country and visit every place I wanted to go, but couldn't because my wife didn't want to. We had a prenup, so she had no rights to ask anything. In a letter, I explained. I told her I was leaving, and I would leave her the house and a car and would pay a sum every month for exactly a year. After that, she was on her own. In my own stupidity, I forgot to mention why I was leaving, but this would work out in my favor. 10 days after I left, I got a text from my wife asking me where I was and if this was a joke. She called me, but I didn't pick up. I never pick up the phone while driving. I had an automated text sent that said, "I'm driving and will call back later." She sends me text after text after text. That night, I stopped in a motel and decided to read the texts before calling her back. First, she was asking if this was a joke, then asking when I will come back, then begging me to come back, not knowing why I left. And then she said something. She was sorry and it didn't mean anything and that she will cut him off. She was having an affair. Something I never suspected. I called her cell phone and she was at her parents'. I learned this tactic from TV. She started yelling at me and I hung up. I waited 1 minute and called back. She started yelling again and I hung up again. I waited 2 minutes and called back again. This time, she wasn't yelling and I started talking. I told her that she was going to let me talk first, and after I said what I needed to say, and then she could ask questions. I told her why I left. We were married but living like roommates. Not even roommates, because they at least acknowledge each other. I don't remember the last time we had a conversation, The last time we did something together. I didn't remember the last time we've been intimate, but I know it was before the accident. I told her that for a month before leaving, I stopped talking and sold everything I had in the house, and she didn't even notice. That it took her 10 days after I left before she noticed I was gone. If she had called me on the day I left, I would have turned around immediately. I ended with, "Thank you for admitting to the affair. I really didn't know about that." She tried to apologize, and when she asked me to come back, I asked her why. If she could explain to me why I would consider it. What was in it for me? What would change? She couldn't answer, so I said goodbye and told her my lawyer knows how to contact me. Then I blocked her. The next day, I bought a new phone with a new number and left the old one in the motel. 2 weeks later, I got an email from my lawyer that the divorce papers were signed. I was free. I kept my word. My lawyer already had all documents signed by me that would transfer ownership of the house and the cars to her. The bank automatically deposits a fixed amount to our shared account every month for a year. Where we are now. For the past 5 years, I have been driving across the country, working remotely. I finally had a reason to start social media. I posted online where I've been and where I'm going. I stay in a place for a couple of weeks and drive to the next. My ex-wife started following me on Instagram a year after I left, and out of curiosity, I looked at her public posts. I'm not planning on following her back. She posted pictures with her boyfriend soon after I left. To her credit, she did not badmouth me, at least not on Instagram. 2 months after I left, they apparently broke up. That was the last time I really had an update of her. I also have a life now. Once I put myself out there, it turned out to be easier to have casual hookups. No committed relationship. Now, after years, I'm going back to my hometown. There is a reunion I want to attend. I'm staying for a month, maybe 2, and then I'm going to Canada. I have no plans of looking up my ex, but I will also not actively avoid her. If I see her, I'll see her. If I don't, I don't. Crazy story. This is a happy way for getting back on your own legs. Don't even meet her. She's selfish and horrible. Don't waste your time with her. She's a gold digger. Good story. You realized something was wrong and decided to leave your wife. That was smart. But I think that before the accident, she had her adventures. After the accident, when she decided to have you move into the guest room, she didn't want to be unfaithful to her lover with you. Why did you leave her your house? As someone that recently got out of an abusive marriage, you have no idea how much more mental anguish and loss of physical time and energy I would have had to endure if I tried fighting for anything extra for my ex-wife. What I would have to go through to get the apartment and a car was not worth the stress and anxiety and fear of her retaliating. Simply walking away and starting over from nothing was so much better for me. And I'm sure OP felt the same, though he at least had more backing to start off with than I did.